Welcome agents, I'm back with another State of the Game recap video today, focusing a lot on the new AI, with some discussion around the increased explosion damage and of course the priority alerts. If you enjoy this one, please hit the like button below, subscribe for dedicated Division 2 content, and let's begin. Now as always, I've simply taken down all the notes I could get from this State of the Game and I'm going to run through them with no scripting or anything involved. We're just going to pretty much read from a sheet and I'll add stuff as I go along. So to start off with, it was Hamish Bow today with Drew Recker. I think it's Recker or Reckner, who's the associate game director, works a lot on like the AI and stuff like that. And to start off with, we have the priority alerts. Of course, episode 2 now being available to all players. I believe that was from yesterday. The Year 1 pass holders got access on the 15th. They went on to confirm that the Twitch Prime outfits will be ending at the end of this week. Now there are 4 outfits. I will include the image that they included on stream. They're pretty cool. You've got to head on over to Twitch Prime where you can get those if you have it. Now moving on, they talked about last week's maintenance, which was on Friday, and the maintenance notes that were included were that they fixed a scripting crash in the base of operations that could block progression for some players. Discovery mode has been reactivated, if you didn't realise. The Eagle Bearer should no longer drop from this mode either. And I wanted to just say something here because I did a video a week ago just before I went away on my honeymoon, where I it might have even been on my honeymoon actually, where I said that the Eagle Bearer was dropping from the Discovery mode of the raid. And a lot of people said there's just no way, but actually it was true. It was actually dropping from the raid. So props to the person who told me. But yeah, that's no longer happening. If you did get it, from what I can tell, they're not going to be taking it away from you. At least that's not what they said. But yeah, that should be fixed now as well. And also with Kenley College, now correctly requires all investigation areas to be completed before the Diamondback can be collected in the chapel. Again, this was another issue where people were effectively not doing them and just going straight to the chapel and getting the Diamondback. Again, with that, if you did that, well done. From what they said, they're not going to be taking that away from people. That's just they're bad, essentially. And yeah, that's that for that. So we do have another maintenance coming tomorrow, and I just want to go over the notes for that maintenance. These may well change, but for right now, these are the notes for tomorrow. Fixed an issue that prevented loadout swaps with specializations in certain circumstances. Fixed an issue that prevented interaction with the levers in the Kenley metro station. Removed a prematurely added blueprint from the crafting bench October 5th, which is an M249B LMG. So if anyone saw that, I think that's kind of a spoiler for, I believe, an upcoming blueprint or upcoming LMG. Fix an issue that caused cipher keys to drop in raid discovery difficulty. Another issue there. That's quite a big issue, actually. Fix an issue that caused incorrect backpack trophies to drop in Tidal Basin heroic. Fix an issue that prevented the objective lightning round at stage 4 of the technician special field research to trigger. Removed a rectangular shape in the apparel cache opening animation. Yeah, that's some of that I've come across recently. I've been opening up all my caches and all I'm getting is basically the colour, but it doesn't actually show me what it is. So yeah, that's that. Now moving on, they talked about other things essentially within the State of the Game, but Hamish went on to talk to Drew and basically say to him, look, how is TU6 going? How is the community reacting? Now they did say that, with this they wanted to address loot, RNG, the main issues that people were really talking about, and the overall consensus is that Title Update 6 is a good, is a success. This is the first iteration, i.e. this is the first step towards a much bigger picture, and there will be a lot more to come, but they believe that this first step was a good one. It came at the right time, and people are generally happy about that, and I'd have to say that I'm probably on board with that in respect to Title Update 6 itself. That's aside from Episode 2, and I would address those separately, and I'm going to cover that in a review video that I've got for Episode 2 and Title Update 6, which should be coming out shortly. I'm currently scripting that as we speak. Now, they did want to do a shout out to some cool community things. Websites like divisionbuilder.com and Ruben Alamino's weekly vendor reset website. I have to agree, these two are very good. Division Builder especially, if you come into the Division and you're not sure what build to make, I highly recommend going over to divisionbuilder.com for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there's a lot of top builds on there that and you can just go on there and pretty much create your own blueprint essentially, or you can just go in there and do your own thing and create your own build and then try and apply that to the game. So they're both very, very good. Following this, they had sort of the interview part where Hamish was asking Drew about the AI for TU6, pre-TU6 and now post-TU6. Now, what they wanted to do with the AI for TU6 was they wanted to rebalance difficulty. Now, pre-TU6 difficulty became unbalanced as you climbed because bullet damage would go up, but explosion damage wouldn't. You could start at normal and go to heroic, and the explosion damage on your character wouldn't change, but the damage from your, the bullets and stuff would. So it kind of meant that the difficulty actually became unbalanced. Drew gave a good example of the synergy between throwers and snipers. So you have NPCs like the throwers that would throw grenades, try and flush you out of cover, and then you'd have a sniper who would take advantage of the fact that you were out of cover to punish you. And that was the kind of synergy you had between two different NPCs. So when you remove the explosion damage that you would get for being in cover if you stayed there and took that, then you kind of lose that synergy because you just stick in cover. You would take the hit of explosion damage because you would just soak it up because it really didn't do that much. And then that sniper would become irrelevant. So, and I've experienced this myself since the update, how they've changed this. They also said that they felt the time to kill was too long in heroic, and the goal was that they wanted to increase the explosion damage so it was in line with weapon damage essentially, but then bring them both down a little bit. So that way the time to kill or time to be killed was a little less, and also they did lower time to kill as well so that you could kill quicker, and that way the difficulty wouldn't change. It would still be as difficult as it was pre-TU6 with AIs and stuff, but the way in which you completed these heroics or whatever it might be would be different, because you would really have to consider, am I going to take this nade hit? Am I going to take this grenade? Because if I do, I might well die, whereas before you didn't have to worry about that. And the data they used for this was completion times and rates, downs and deaths. And as I said, overall difficulty should be the same, but they just want you to rethink about how you approach this. And they felt this was the best for the game. There was a lot of internal stuff on this. They felt that this was more fun. So that's probably why people have been talking a lot about how the explosion damage has been vastly increased since TU6. But that's just because they want you to play a different way. They went on to talk about NPCs. Now, they said that in Division 1, NPCs entered combat sort of guns blazing. And this is them talking about how the AI has kind of changed in the way they attack you, essentially, or at least to start off with. So in Division 1, NPCs entered combat, guns blazing. They weren't very protective of their lives. And if you play the Division 1, you realise that they weren't, protective of their lives whatsoever. They would just come at you. They wouldn't even go into cover very often. And with Division 2, they wanted the AI to be more intelligent. So what they would do instead is they'd find cover ASAP. They would be protective of their lives. And especially if there was a heavy weapon sort of guy there who would suppress to let NPCs get into cover. Now, pre-TU6, when there was no heavy there, NPCs would still, go straight to cover, and they would sprint, 30 meters to find cover, and it did look strange because you'd be firing at them or whatever, and they'd just be absolutely just tanking it towards cover. Post TU6, they've made a change, so now a couple of NPCs within a group will elect themselves to lay down cover whilst others find cover, and that would I presume that means some people would rush you, some people would lay down cover, and that way that other NPCs could find cover. So that's kind of how NPCs are working. Now, they specifically talked about the behaviour of heavy gunners being changed post TU6 and how they react to status effects. And I've seen this myself, and I think it's a good thing. Now, status effects before TU6, they were very good against heavies. All you'd have to do is CC them, and they were easy to take down. Well, now, an example they gave was if you put a heavy on fire, they won't kind of flail their arms around like they used to. They will soldier on. They'll still take the fire damage and it will still tick, but they will soldier on. And the same with being shocked. They're still going to go down, but they will get up much, much quicker because they will fight being shocked. They want to talk about blind and confusion on a tank with a melee weapon. Now what they will do, instead of just being blind and confused and just kind of stand there not doing anything, is the NPCs with melee weapons will remember where they last saw you, and they will kind of like run, stumble to that position and attack. And what they think about this is it actually opens up an opportunity where you know they're going to do that, and it puts you in a position to kind of funnel them or do something about it, if that makes sense. They want to talk about small changes to players' turrets. Pre-TU6, the NPCs would ignore your turret pretty much all of the time because they perceive them as being much less of a threat than you are, which is still true. However, now, post TU6, if you are really passive and you put your turret down and you just sit in cover and let that do the work, and you just start hiding, NPCs will now switch their focus from you, and they will focus just on the turret, and they'll destroy the turret. And again, these are the changes that are being made to AI. They're big changes. Those are the biggest changes that they mentioned. And there are obviously some other small changes as well, but those were the big ones. And to be honest, guys, that's pretty much it for today's State of the Game. There wasn't anything new. I mean, this is all new stuff. I mean, I didn't know about half of this stuff, really. And it's very interesting stuff. And at least with this information now, you can decide on how you want to approach AI. But yeah, nothing new in respect of content and other things, really. So that's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you haven't turned on notifications yet, or you haven't subscribed, please do. I've got quite a few videos in the pipeline coming up. I'm working my ass off to try and get this stuff out to you as soon as possible, really. I will have a review of this update essentially very soon. And yeah, it's good to be back. So thanks very much for watching. Until the next one, epic out.